All right, so I need to now add more layers. I need a minimum of 5. I've only got 3, but you can see how it works now. Just putting these 2 and using the eyeball to make them visible, rasterizing them, setting them on multiply, and that allows me to do things like this, erase away from parts of the line art so that the eye can kind of flow in a more interesting way between the sections. And we do it with black lines because it gives you obvious places to kind of trace borders when you have black line art there, to reveal shapes or other things. All right, next. Now let me get rid of that heel. Remember, feel free to edit severely. Since we can't make our own marks, we have to make our creative intentions known through the way we edit the marks we find. It's actually kind of hypnotic and fun to carve away from it. Right, now I'm going to add in the next layer. And what do? It's already set to multiply, but in order to delete away from it, I have to right click. And that's why we always plug in our tablet and our mouse at the same time, right? Because it's a lot easier to right click with a mouse. And I say rasterize. And I'm going to get rid of the identifying things. If I want to zoom in, I do Command plus. And I'm going to get rid of the eyes of this character. I've rasterized it so I can delete it. I'm going to get rid of where he overlaps with this hand. Remember, little things are fine. This doesn't need to be perfectly clean. I don't mind that line. Let's see. I might get rid of that part from the layer beneath it. Just use these marks. Maybe actually get rid of this as well. And you see, you can only delete from the layer you have selected. I like what's going on there. Let's see, but maybe I'll clear this up. So I have to find what layer that's on. And I can use the eyeballs to do that. So it's this layer. And let the little ribbon show through again. Whoops. So that's on this layer. So you'll get good at kind of organizing your layers and seeing what's what. working on this exercise. That's why I advise kind of doing it one layer at a time, building it slowly. And using the eyeballs to see what layer. Now here's a nice trick. I'm going to turn off all my layers, just the eyeballs. So you can see I have a selection shape. That selection will move between the layers. I want those lines, but I want to clear that space from my other layers. So what do? I turn them on, I select them, and then I can delete that same selection from multiple layers to clear it out. So the fact in Photoshop that your selections travel between layers is incredibly helpful. Be very important to the work we do later on. All right. So far, so good. Now let's bring in another layer. Get it from the desktop. What do I want to use next? Maybe this one, really thin lines. And here we have kind of a pencil line art sketch, right? The reason it came underneath the Bluto layer is because whenever you drag and drop a layer in, it's going to drag on top of the last layer you used. But I can always move that up. You can just drag and drop your layers to be in the right order. What's the first thing I do? Command T. I'm going to stretch it. I can hold down Shift and kind of stretch it in different ways. Command 0 to get it centered. I can rotate it, right? Command T, all my free transform needs. I can right click inside the transform box and flip it. Rotate it again, maybe something like this. And I can warp it. Right click inside and warp and push it around like silly putty. I really like the swing, the action line of his fist there. Okay, now to make it so I can erase away like the shadow underneath him, I right click it and I rasterize only once I've sized it. I use my lasso and I delete. And if I want to see the other layers and how it interacts, I go to normal mode and I change that to multiply. Okay. And then I can see where I want to erase it away, maybe between some of these forms. So I don't want it to be so recognizable as Popeye, but I want those lines to come through. I love the little explosion there, so I might cut that away from other layers. If I want to add to my selection, I just hold down Shift while I use the lasso. And I can find what layer that is on. It's this one, and then delete. And as we have more layers, you can just cut more and more away. Still want to keep your focus on the interesting parts. Right? That's the goal. Lots of fists and feet in Popeye. It's the emphasis of most of the characters. And again, we're not going for perfection. We're just trying to try these skills on as we're getting introduced to compositing using other people's pixels. Now if I want to subtract away from something I selected, hold down Option while you're using the lasso. So Shift to add, Option to delete. Edit from a selection. Remember, you can work on multiple layers as you go. Okay, I've got 4 layers now. Hit Command 0, get it all fit on the screen. Yeah, most of that's working. I'm going to edit out the Bluto layer here. Break that line up. And maybe get rid of the Popeye head here from that sketch layer. All right, and I still need one more layer. This is 5 different, we need a requirement of 5 different composited layers, and I only have 4 so far. And we got to meet the basic requirements. So go to my desktop, and I'm going to use the Dennis the Menace one with the Popeye face. Drag and drop that in, move it up to the top, hit Command T to get the transform box. And I'm really going to just focus on the head, and I'm going to right click and flip it horizontally, and I'm going to rotate it. And I try to never use any composited pixels just as they are. I always try to modify them, even if they're just for teaching demos. Okay. Hit return. Now in order to cut away, because I've sized it, I need to right click and rasterize. And then to see the other layers, I need to change it from normal mode to multiply mode. And I like those really thick lines. They're very different. But I have a lot to cut away. So I think I'll keep the shoulders, those kind of triangles and rectangles, but delete all of that. Trim them a bit. And then let's see. Don't think I want this. Don't want it there. I'm just going to break it up a little bit. All right, now in an instance like this, where I have this big black mark, I'm going to do Command Z so you can see. And I want to cut out the hand. So what I'm going to do is take the opacity down so I can look through it, then use that to trace where I want to cut away from that black mark, which is just inside the line art of the hand. Then I can delete it, and then I can bring it back up to full opacity. Because we are looking for black line art. And because we're looking for black line art, this line art, I'm going to isolate